If you can keep the blacks with the blacks and the Latinos with the Latinos, if you can keep all those borderlines, politicians are able to keep that division.
And it has been for years, and I can say the last 2-3 years, it has increased a lot. We don't want that anymore. Our politics inside, they are not able to have a really solid position against them. We have Morena, we have PRI, we have PAN, all these shit parties in Mexico. All them were part of this fucking same. They were receiving money for the cartel. We had our old president, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, with one of the mother of the boss of the cartel, El Chapo. Why he was saying hello to the mother of one of the bosses of the cartel? It's impossible. It's because you have a relationship with them. Also, we have the other case of Genaro Luna. He was part of the cartel as well, the Sinaloa cartel. You know how many people is dying in Mexico? It's a lot of people. We were concerned about the war in Israel. More people died in Mexico those days than in that war. Cartels are a cancer of Mexico, 100%.
Charlie Kirk died. I'm not the type to be bothered by things, especially external things that really don't have no direct impact to me. But I was genuinely bothered by the situation.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Saul Reyes and I'm here with Davi Pollack, and we are super excited to be here with you guys. 0 to 100, the road to success. This episode will be a little bit more different because you know David, he was in the first episode. But today we felt the necessity to start talking about some situations that are very relevant here in the society, not just in USA, also in Mexico. Welcome, David. How are you feeling today? All good?
Feel good.
Excellent. Perfect. I would like to start with a conversation that we already had yesterday about, I can say this, I want to start more like an introduction of your perspective of how all the politics is moving here in US in regards of some people that are more like, I can say, in one side and the other side. What's your perspective in general about those movements in the politics inside of the US?
I think that's a super long-winded answer, and I kind of don't want to get into a super long-winded answer. I want to say primarily, it really feels like the Democratic Party has become more radicalized than anything, and it feels like the right side is pushing more traditional values, and there seems to be some real resistance to the traditional values, and it feels kind of fabricated, right? Like it doesn't even feel like organic, right? Like the Democratic side pushing the traditional values, it doesn't really feel organic. You might have a minority of people that genuinely have their positions on the left, but I feel like a lot of it is more manufactured versus organic displays of true, genuine insights and values.
Yeah, I see. And how these values that you can recognize in both parts, right? Because, for example, in the Republican Party, we can say that they are more like traditional, right? In this case, how do you see that changing those values and going to the other side could be affecting the society in different levels, right? I know that you have a family and you have a really solid vision about how your family is going in this type of values, and also in the economic part, you are a business owner. How do you feel that those values in the other side can be affecting directly the all the aspects that you have in your life?
I think it all comes down to organizational structure, right? And I feel like the traditional values just frame organizational structure, and I think that people have this idea that there's a sense of control, right? When it comes to organizational structure within a traditional family household, but there is. But it's supposed to be that way, right?
Right.
That's how everything actually stays organized. Everybody plays their part and does what they're supposed to do. And I feel like the fabric of breaking up that traditional household is primarily to create chaos.
Right.
When you break up the organizational structure, then who's where, right? And that is what causes chaos. So for me, when it comes to like traditional values, it makes sense to me because that's where That's where peace lives, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you break that up, that's where chaos lives. And I feel like you can kind of see it in lifetime, right? I feel like the Democratic side has pushed the specific agenda so hard that you're able to actually see in lifetime the chaos that is created just by
What
breaking up.
specific agenda you mean?
Kind of the globalist agenda, right? Like the one world government stuff, and I guess I'm confident that people don't know me, right? When somebody starts speaking in a way like this, where they're saying like, the globalist agenda and stuff like that, it sounds like it's something that is just, I guess.
Probably conspiranoic.
Yeah, and it sounds like something that you say because you heard it or something like that. It's a conspiracy theory, but the pieces are there, right? I mean, and you can have your opinions about things, and I don't push my stuff on nobody. I have my perspectives on things, and I think that for me, I've been really good at putting the pieces together in the world.
Right.
And the pieces are there, and I might not know the complete facts, but there's enough pieces to tell a story.
Mm-hmm. Who is the main, I can say, shape, talking about probably in business part or probably in a politician, in the war that you think that they are trying to push that type of way to have the world organized, right? With
The one world government
it's like
stuff.
who is that representative?
I think that the WEF, like the World Economic Forum, they've played. I guess they played the front runner to it, right? Where they started bringing in all of these politicians from different countries. They started bringing in the large CEOs from these global companies,
Right.
and you start getting them into one room and start plotting, right, how the world should be without the people, right?
Right.
Without the people's voice, without the people's arguments, without the people's saying nothing, right? Just a bunch of elite people just sitting in a room trying to figure out how to create this one world government.
Right.
And look, like I said, I don't know what's happening in those rooms, but the meetings are real, right? The website is real. The people are real, and the meeting of all the politicians and all those CEOs from those global companies, all that stuff is real. So, like I said, it's just about connecting the dots. It's not something that I'll go ahead and say, yeah, I know for sure 100% this is happening, but it's just becoming really clear.
Yeah, I can see that. Do you feel that those projections of this organization is affecting in one way the relation that have these big parties in U.S. Between Republicans and Democratic? Do you feel that in one way they are trying to have the society in different position against the other, right? We can see now that here in U.S. There are many people that are very pro-Trump, right? There are people that really hate Trump, but there is no any point in the middle that we can say, okay, I kind of warm. I don't really get super emotional or probably very upset about some positions about these people who is in the other side. Do you feel that in one way, inside of the community, inside of the U.S., is in any way trying to split the people, trying to put in different locations to be against each other?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I mean, this is essentially how you create chaos, right?
Right.
You divide and conquer, and it's interesting too, right? Because you look at a lot of the policies and the things that Trump has done, and he's done some of the decisions that he's made has actually broken the funnels of power, right? You know, you take all of these departments that were responsible for things, right? And that's what created the bureaucracy, right? They centralized power. They took all the states that had their own individual power, right? Then they centralized that power up to the Department of Education or the Department of whatever, right? And they centralized that into the federal level. And then you know, what happens there is that, you know, there's a certain party that then controls what actually happens in real time, right? Versus what president actually steps in.
Right.
So seeing Trump actually dismantle and honestly, although I was putting pieces together, and I was connecting my own dots from the things that I was seeing, Trump really put everything in full display. Like, if you look at how they was actually funneling money through those NGOs, and then those NGOs is kicking out funds to, man, incredible, right? And I had no idea, but when that got exposed, it was just one of those things that just put everything together, and it's like, oh, this is where they're getting their money, or this is how they're getting funded, or this is how they're keeping themselves away from you know, actually being connected to funding these organizations. And him being able to do the things that he did to actually cut that funnel off, right? That money maker for them to get ahead and pay for, you know, all of those marches and those protests and those this and those that, right? All the resistance. And it was us paying for it the whole time, right? We were literally paying for our own demise. It was just incredible to see. And then with the Department of Education, again, centralized, right? Centralized power. And then that centralized power being broken up and given back to the states.
Yeah.
That's huge, man. That's huge when it comes to like decentralizing power in a way where the people have a voice. You know, you get to decide what type of state you want to live in,
Exactly.
right? And you can have your policies that lean a certain way, but you know, to accept being radicalized in a way where it doesn't align with traditional American values, that's a problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, in this case, I can see super interesting, right? The perspective that you have inside of the politics of Trump, right? Internally in your country, in U.S., because I'm Mexican. Obviously, Mexico, we have a super different perception about Trump, right? Because we know we have been very hurt in some politics that he has against not just Mexico, many countries, but I can understand because also I even have the opportunity to live here in U.S. and have another vision, right? Always we never know what is the whole or the big picture if we are not able to look all the parts, right? In this case, I've been able to do that, and I can understand the problems that you have internally here. And you just mentioned something interesting, right? Internally, you have different levels of infrastructure in your government, right? In the institutions, different levels of economy, different levels in the education. I can see also that it could be connected in that way where if there is any just main power that controls all the ideas that all these organizations can have, everything should be the same, will be the same if there is nobody that disconnect those points. And also what will impact is that person will have full control on those institutions, right? Also, I can see some aspects about some cities that we have here in U.S. with a big problem of people who is living around drugs and all these parts, right? I can see how the society here in U.S. is having so many problems in this part, and I can see how everything is connected in this way, right? Because some people is more like, I can say no, I won't say pro drugs, right? But they are very free. They are trying to push different policies to have more freedom to use different soft drugs, right? Like the marijuana. And this is very aligned with the other, I can say, values that specifically the Republicans are trying to to not have in the society, right? In this case, you have been able to live in different states, right? What's your perspective in regards of the drugs or this type of policies inside of these states that are very conservative in regards of drugs, and how do you feel that is connect directly of the values that the Republicans, also the Democrats, are trying to push in the society in the states that they have the power?
Yeah, I think that I mean, drugs been around forever, right? But now, like you said, it's starting to move into policy, right? Um, I think that if there are certain states that lean into something that they decide is more aligned with their values, I think that that's fine, right? But allowing the allowing the allowing the states to make those decisions, I feel like is the power, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that we all need to be dressed and look exactly the same.
Mm.
And I think having that freedom for at the state level, you start to align with what works for you.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also a limit to that, right?
Right.
Like when you start pushing drugs like heroin and all the other drugs that's out there, right? And you start pushing it and you're condoning the behavior, and it's creating chaos and destruction and homelessness
Yeah.
and addiction, and it's doing all of those things, and you're just sitting around saying, "Oh yeah, no, we just free." That's
Exactly.
not okay.
But you think that those people that are more like using those drugs is because they just decided to use them, or it is any like context behind that goes directly to the family? Because let me tell you what, no, in my perspective in Mexico, my mom was always there, right, trying to check that I was not taking any something weird, any drug, because we have drugs in Mexico, right?
Yeah, sure.
But the fact is that I cannot see that very common with the young people, or probably in where I grew up, right? But also I can see that the family is a huge structure against the drugs. Do you feel that here in U.S. many people is using drugs because the family and those values are not properly probably not are very strong, or what's your perception about the family, how it plays directly against drugs?
Yeah, I would say for sure. For sure. I feel like if you have a tight infrastructure at home, it reduces the probability.
Right.
Does it completely eliminate it? No, it doesn't. Right. Like, but it definitely extremely reduces it. And I say that primarily because sometimes you're in an environment that you have people that do drugs and you have your friends that do drugs, and
Right.
then you get influenced by that, right? And sometimes you don't think that there's anything else out there, right?
Right.
It just makes sense within that environment.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, for sure, I do believe that a strong family infrastructure will essentially greatly reduce the probability of doing drugs, for sure.
Yeah, I can see that some like progress ideas are a little bit against the family. You feel that there are some ideas that are affecting in that way these values that the family protects.
It seems like there's a there's a direct attack on the family infrastructure, and I don't think that this is something that has started recently. I think this is something that started potentially decades ago, right?
Right.
And it's weakened our communities, and it's weakened the fabric of our culture too, as
Of
a
course.
nation. And when we talk about like culture of the nation, right? A lot of that too, people don't want to be. People don't define themselves as American, and I feel like that really helps the division, right?
Of course.
Um,
And
you
let
know,
me tell you my perspective about
yeah,
that.
please.
Because I have friends, right? I met them in Chicago. We have great relationship. They're Mexico Americans, right? If you ask them, do you feel American? They don't feel American, right? They say, no, I feel like from Mexico. But we are everybody there, like together. I'm from Mexico, 100%. I was raised there. I came here when I was like 22 years old. But I can see that they are not direct. They look as a Mexican, but for me they are Americans, right? In the way that they speak, in the way that they dress, many aspects, right? I see some aspects that we have in common, right? But also some aspects that goes directly to them. They feel like they are in one minority and they are not part of the community. Why do you think that many people is in that way? Because I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. But the movies that we consume in Mexico, you can see in a school that the Latin people is with Latin people, Hispanic people is with Hispanic people, black people with black people, whites with whites. What do you think that from the school? Do you think that that's real? Is something that happens in the society? Why do you think it's in that way? Why you don't think that everybody can see each other as a society together?
Yeah, I think it's the separation of, right, and it's done intentionally. The you know if you can keep if you can keep the blacks with the blacks and Latinos with the Latinos and the this with that, right? If you can keep all those borderlines relevant, then politicians are able to get ahead and keep that division, right?
Right.
They can go ahead and say, oh, yeah, blacks get mistreated and blah, 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 right? And then if you follow me, I'll get you freedom. And it's like,
Right.
freedom's here, right? Like, but it's just a political talking point. And essentially, it does keep us divided. I truly believe that if people start wrapping their head around becoming an American and being an American and saying I'm American,
Exactly.
right? You start to look at the great traditions,
Right.
The great history of America, right? America is probably one of the youngest countries, and in 250 years, we slavery didn't start here, right? It migrated here, and it was just like it was everywhere else. And inside that 250 years of America, we got rid of it, right? You can make people can make arguments and try to make it something else, right? In modern times and stuff. But the fact of the matter, you got somebody like me that came from absolutely nothing to
Right.
to where I'm at today. And I can't think of anywhere in the world that you're gonna see somebody like me do something like that.
Yeah, I agree with that. And also, in this aspect that you mentioned about how the divisions are very clear, in the society internally, I can detect any like something similar in Mexico, right? Because now the politics in Mexico is more difficult, I can say, because everybody looks very similar, right? Mexicans, we have some Mexicans that are more white, but we are Mexicans in general. We are the same. We speak Spanish. We don't have so many changes in our language. Some accents a little bit different, but it's almost the same. We have some communities in the south and the center, right? That are natives, right? That our last president, tried to give them more visibility, right, in the society. But also another aspect that I can see that I don't feel good about it is that they try to sell the idea that if you are poor, if you have a low economy, you're a good person, right? And also, if you have money, right? If you are doing good, if you have a company, if you want to have a much better life, you're not good. You are selfish. You're not humble. You are not a good person. Obviously, I can understand, no, some like governments that are very aligned with socialism, right? Try to push those ideas because in that way it's very simple to keep the society controlled under a model of economy super low, right? In that way you don't have to spend a lot of resources of the state of the in the community, right? In the infrastructure of the city, in the infrastructure of the roads, etc. And you can take more, right? As a party that is very corrupt. In this case, I've seen how our last president used to say fifis to the people who has money, and the pueblo bueno, to the people who doesn't have a lot of money, right? And I can see also one part of like kind of benefit, because in the past it was not that way, right? The poor people didn't have a lot of visibility in what type of problems they have, right? But also I can see how dangerous it is, because I see the effect right here in US, right? That everybody is trying to be part of something, but they are not really part of the thing that they're supposed to be part of, right? It's the same in Mexico. I could say, as you mentioned, no, you work hard, you did whatever you have to do to be in the position that you are. But I'm concerned about Mexico, because if you feel that if you have money, you are going to be a bad person, probably if you are young and you have 10 years old, or probably 15 years old, you won't want that life, right? You won't be able to probably offer much better quality of life to your family, right? Obviously, it must be a line of what you want as person, what's your the meaning of success, right? But in one aspect, I can see all the challenges to stay in the same position economically, right? In this case, you don't feel that in one way this type of mentality in the part of socialism is trying to be pushed in the American culture?
I think there's a lot of push to adjust the socioeconomic model of America, right? I am curious though, like on the Mexico side, right? What's the temperature on that side? I'm more about like the Trump policies. I know that I know currently we have the cartel. Cartel stuff, right?
Right.
They got reclassified as a terrorist organization.
Correct.
That definitely changes the overall, I guess, vibe, right? For how the U.S. actually interacts with the cartels, right? And what they're able to actually do. And then you also have the tariff stuff that's changing, and that's essentially going to have an effect on Mexico. I'm curious. I'm curious on what do the people of Mexico feel about both of those things?
It's a good question. I can say, under my perspective, respecting the perspective of others in Mexico.
Right.
Under my perspective, it's very positive that U.S. Classified the cartel as a terrorist entity, right? We are tired about the cartel in Mexico. We are very tired about all the violence that we have around, right? You cannot just go to other city very concerned that somebody will try to kill you, literally kill you. Probably they will pull you over, they will take your car from you, and then you will see that car probably in the mountains now with a lot of guys with a lot of guns, right? It's crazy, and not just that. All the violence, you probably can be in the city, and then they start shooting each other, and it's the level of violence in Mexico is insane, and it has been for years. And I can say the last 2-3 years, it has increased a lot, and we don't want that anymore, right? And our politics inside, they are not able to have a really solid position against them because they are part of them. That's the reality. And it's not because I just telling this, it's real.
Right.
We just have the Mayo Zambada. Mayo Zambada was the lead of the cartel, one of the main cartels. I won't say the name. But it was the main cartel in Mexico, right? For 50 years. And he literally said, I will take the responsibility. I will say that I was the boss of the cartel, right? But also, I will start talking about how my relationships with politicians in Mexico went all this time. It's just one party, right? We have Morena, we have PRI, we have PAN, all these shit parties in Mexico, right? All them were part of this fucking same, right? They were receiving money for the cartel. We have our old president, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, with one of the mother of the boss of the cartel, El Chapo, They were there. Why he was saying hello to the mother of one of the bosses of the cartel? It's impossible. It's because you have a relationship with them, right? You're receiving the money from them. Also, we have the other case of Genaro Luna. He was the defense secretary, right? He was part of the cartel as well, the Sinaloa cartel. He was receiving money from them, and he was just making movies, trying to make Mexicans think that he was doing something against them. But no, he was part of the other cartel, and he just fighting against the other cartel, right? That he was not receiving money from. It's crazy. And now at this point, I don't see how any politics inside of Mexico can really do something against the cartel. Just the U.S. government.
Well, so tell me about the lady that just came up in Fox News recently. I want to say it was probably about a month ago or so, that she was pretty much outing Claudia.
Right. It's Lili Telles.
There you go. That's her name.
Lili Telles. I think this the meaning of this is huge, right? The fact that Lili Telles was in the American TV, right? And she was in Fox. Fox is a Republican channel, right?
Yeah, and she leans right for sure.
Exactly. And we know that Trump constantly sees watch this type of news, right? From Fox. He likes it. He has said it before. And the fact that she was there talking about the cartels in Mexico, asking for help, saying that internally we have a huge problem around the cartel, is insane. And what happened later, right? I support her. I can say I support her, right? I'm not sure exactly what are the real intentions. I really hope that her intentions is to help Mexico. But she went back to Mexico, and all the politics were upset. They were saying that she was trying to sell Mexico. She was against Mexico. She was against all the freedom that we have in Mexico just because she said that. I understand that the fair in Mexico is that probably American troops can be inside of Mexico, right? That probably we can have American military around Mexico and probably against the cartel a war directly in Mexico. That's the big concern, right? But the war is there already. You know how many people is dying in Mexico? It's a lot of people, right? We were concerned about the war in Israel and Iran, but more people died in Mexico those days than in that war. It's insane. The amount of people is dying every day in Mexico is insane. And now, when she went back to Mexico, she was in one of these conversations, and we have two stupid guys, two politics from different parties, right? Alito Moreno and another guy, I don't remember his name. Noroña is his name. And then Noroña is very aligned with President Claudia Sheinbaum, right? And he was not able to give the correct respect to the time when she was talking, right? She was in the Congress talking, and he was interrupting her a lot. And then obviously all the temperature started getting high. And Alito Moreno, that is also, he's very corrupt as well for me. But he started pushing everybody. He pushed the other guy, and then other guy was there in the middle just to do a titter, and then everybody fighting, bro. You see how Mexico is becoming as a TV show. You see?
Well, I think that happened, right? From my perspective, right? I think that happened primarily because they're feeling the pressure, right?
Right.
Because she didn't. What's her name again?
Lili Telles.
Yeah, Lili Telles. So she didn't just say that you have a cartel problem. She said that you have a political cartel problem.
Right, that's insane.
Like the cartel is completely embedded into the political scene and the government of Mexico.
Right.
And that's huge, man. Right. Like I don't ever remember hearing anybody be vocal that way about Mexico. It seems like there was an opportunity, and with Trump in office, it looks like she wanted to try to take that opportunity.
Right.
And I think it was, what I'm curious, why do you feel like, although I think that it's super brave, right? Why do you think you kind of had some hesitation in regards to giving her too much props, right? Because it seems like you're weary about like her intent.
Right.
Why?
Because we never know exactly. The politicians in Mexico, they do things, but they doesn't mean they don't really are very transparent, right? She has been very like I can say she specifically her shape as politician in Mexico is not that clean. She's not the best politician in Mexico, right?
Yeah.
She's
Are
also
there any?
no. I
All
can
right.
say no. They're all shit, bro.
Yeah.
I swear. But many of them are like she's not that like always. She's against who is in the power, right? In this case, Andres Manuel and Morena. She's against that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if she made why she made that. But if her intentions for real were very transparent to help to finish all this corruption inside of the politics in Mexico, great, amazing. I'm with her. But if she just did do that for any other reason, because probably she was influenced by other party that have another intentions to probably take the same power and take that corruption because they are not getting the money, I'll not with her. 100% no. But at this moment, if that's real, I think it's great. It's good.
Mm.
Yeah.
So what about the tariff side of things?
The tariff side of things, I think it just gives benefits to US. Not directly the people, right? The society directly, the people who works. But yes, probably the companies that I know that many companies are having their operation out of US because it's more affordable to have operations outside, right? And then what they do is just to move their products to US and start selling inside. In Mexico, it can be depend of which country they are applying the tariff, right? If they do to China, it's great because what it will mean is that they will put some um, uh, manufactured companies in Mexico, right? They will avoid the tariffs, and we will have people working in Mexico, right, creating jobs, creating opportunities, and that product is almost Mexican, Chinese, and they will import and export products to US. It's great. It's beautiful. But I know that our president, I want to recognize that, Claudio Sheinbaum, has been super smart how to handle deals with Donald Trump. In some cases, a couple times in the past months, we have some tariffs that were coming to Mexico, but she was very smart to talk to Trump. She talked to Trump and she was able to do not have those tariffs affecting Mexico. And we control it because also we have our beautiful NAFTA trade between Mexico, Canada, and US, right? And obviously it saves us a lot. But I can say if Mexico is super smart and is really aligned and is able to help US, Canada, and also us as Mexico, and we work together, those tariffs can be a huge opportunity for Mexico to provide really qualified people to work in these companies, produce materials or any other product, and move everything to US and start creating a region, say obviously with a highest level of I can say safe instead of China, because China we know how different it is, no, in many ways. They are communists, they are very far. They are against many values that U.S. have, but Mexico is more aligned on that. I think Mexico must be in that moment and do not see as something bad, see this as an opportunity. But it's hard to understand for the people, for the society. You ask me how we perceive. It's hard to understand because we just see 15% of tariff in this product. Oh fuck, we gotta pay more. That's the only thing that you think, right? It's normal. But if you see the big picture, probably I will be able to be hired for any company from China that was established here. I will have a great job, right? As an engineer, great. I'm having an increase, but also have a job, right? In general, is how I perceive this. I think some people that they don't see the big picture, they will be concerned and upset against Trump. but some others they can see this as an opportunity. But who I really want to see this as an opportunity is our politics. They need to see this as a opportunity, correct, and support in many ways.
Yeah. Do you think that the cartel being so embedded into the Mexican government kind of you know separates us from that opportunity?
100%.
Oh.
You are an entrepreneur, right? You own a business. We have experience, right, in Mexico. And one of the conversations that we had was how can we be very far from any interaction of with the cartel, right?
Yeah.
We were concerned about it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Just imagine that.
Even when we was going into Mexico, right? It was like, yeah, let's not get properties or anything like that there, just to kind of keep that distance.
Exactly. And just imagine that you cannot do that. We can do that because we are a tech company, but in many other levels, there's no way, right? And you start getting involved because, let's say, in Monterrey, is great. It's very close to U.S. You decide to establish your metal company, right? You start producing metal, and you have to send everything to U.S. And then your products are on the way, and then the cartel pull over the driver, and they call you. Hey, if you don't give me, I don't know how much they could charge you, but a lot of money, I will kill your driver. I will steal your production. Now you don't have a safe way to deliver your products, right? You have a big, huge operational problem, right? You gotta resolve it. You invest already. You will have to be in touch with them and give them what they want. Many entrepreneur people, many business owners have to do that. In our case, we were able to do not have that situation, right? But I can say, how many you think that will say no? I won't. Even if I will have to pay more, I will stay in U.S. How many? What's the percentage that you feel as a business owner that will say no? I will stay.
Oh, a lot.
A lot, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Crazy. It's a good answer because it's not how we in Mexico we need to see the huge problem that we have and all the opportunities that we're missing just because we have corruption and the stupid politics can think, oh yeah, I'm making money because these guys are giving me money. No, if you create a safe environment for investment in Mexico, what you will get is many companies that are paying taxes, many people who is creating opportunities to other people that they are paying taxes, and you are going to be able to have a much healthier society economically talking, right?
100%.
And then I think that this is a cancer. I can say narco cartels are a cancer of Mexico, 100%. Yeah, and talking about this situation also, in Mexico was, I can say, crazy, all the situation that we had around Donald Trump when somebody in one meeting in Pennsylvania tried to kill him. Why do you think that in these levels of violence, politically talking, you are having here in U.S.? Why you think that you are having this reaction internally here in U.S. against politics, especially Donald Trump?
I think assassinations and assassination attempts have kind of been common throughout history, right? If you have people primarily if you look at American history, I just feel like if you're trying to give too much power to the people, then there's a resistance from the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're getting way too much traction, I think desperation kicks in.
Right.
And they feel like, well, this is the only way, right? Because they really don't have no strong position. And the only way to win is to cheat, right?
Mm.
And you won't have to debate nobody. You don't have to debate nobody if they're dead, right?
Exactly.
If you have somebody that is speaking power to the people, right? And you can see, man, like the shift in culture in this country how fast it's happening. For people to like go back to, no, America first, right? And start to take pride and ownership in being an American again, right? Versus, the political correctness stuff that was kind of pushed onto us since like, the Obama era, right? So a lot of that was the reason why I got out of the military. I mean, I seen that change, and I didn't put those pieces together necessarily when I was in the military, but I did put enough pieces together to say that, hey, the culture here is not what I signed up for. When a higher ranking official comes to you and basically tells you to soften up on soldiers. For me, I don't. Soldiers are supposed to go into war, and if they can't deal with stress in a safe environment, then you're not gonna be able to deal with stress in a unsafe environment.
Right.
And for somebody that's higher ranking to essentially try to put me in my place and tell me that, I can't train troops properly, right? Like, I can't train troops for war. I have to, don't extra PT them, or don't do this extra, and don't stress them out, and don't, that's not, I'm not okay with that, right? And, I took my own advice that I used to tell the troops, like, yo, you don't like it here, you do your time honorably, you get out. That's it. It's that simple. Nobody's holding you here. You do your contract, you keep it moving. I think anybody that knew me when I got into the military thought that I'd be there for life. I thought I'd be there for life, honestly.
Oh, really?
I love the military. It changed my life. It really just changed my life, man. But I also seen when we didn't align anymore either. And I didn't understand that it came from politics. I didn't know that.
Oh, really? In that moment, you weren't able to notice it?
No.
You were able to understand it later?
Yeah, because I started understanding politics later when I was a civilian. Like, when I got out of the military and I was in Wisconsin, I met somebody that was deep into into politics and stuff, and he was pro-Trump and stuff. And I didn't get none of it. I didn't understand. He would talk and talk and talk, and I picked up whatever I could, and then I started looking into some things that he was talking about, and next thing I know, I started putting those pieces together, right? And then looking back, it made sense, right? Looking back at the infiltration of America. And I feel like political correctness, you can't say that. I think that stems from violating the First Amendment stuff, right? And it's crazy when you start to put those pieces together and then start to look back, right? For when the founding fathers put together this paperwork, right? This documentation to basically state what the rules are and how number one is freedom of speech.
Exactly.
And we all take it for granted. And political correctness restricted that freedom. And you seen the change. People were scared.
Yeah.
People were scared to speak based off of political correctness. It was insane to see, man. And even myself, for me, I'm a private person. I'm not the one to be on social media and none of that stuff. But it was just really interesting to see in live time, especially through social media and stuff, how people were scared to speak up,
right,
for stuff that was common sense. But then the people that were speaking up for common sense were radicalized right away.
Right, but they add that label, right? That label they added.
Yeah.
We were talking about it yesterday, right? They say activist, right? Activist. He's an activist.
Yeah.
Automatically, in my brain is okay. He's a little bit radical, right?
Yep.
He's in the other part. He won't sit and have a discussion with me to try to understand my points, right?
Right.
And now we can see how this type of people who had those positions that they don't care if they can be cancelled, they were directly killed, no?
Yep.
We have the situation with Charlie. What's your position about it? What do you think about it? How do you analyze the situation that happened with him?
That I just kind of want to start with the fact that that dude was, oh, man, he made such a powerful impact, man. Like, there's this, you can only dream about having the type of impact that man had in this world.
Yeah.
Like, you can only dream. Most men can only dream about that, right? To be able to, was he like 31 years old?
Yeah.
To be able to live to 31 years old and have the type of impact that man had it's astonishing, bro.
Right.
Like, and I say that primarily coming from a place where, I like Charlie Kirk, right? I watch his stuff. I obviously don't know him. But when Janet sent me a message and she's like, "Hey, Charlie Kirk died," like, I was bothered. Like, I was legitimately and I'm not the type to be bothered by things, especially external things that really don't have no direct impact to me. But I was genuinely bothered by the situation. And I think primarily for the impact that he left, but also because I believe that he was a good man.
The family.
Yeah, I believe he was a genuinely good person, bro. Right? And somebody got radicalized so hard that they went and killed in cold blood a really good man, period. Like, forget about the speeches and all of that stuff. Like, that dude was just a really, really good dude. And every time he spoke from an honest place. And right. he spoke from an honest place, and I truly believe he helped a lot of people. And I think that the Democratic Party, honestly, was really terrified of him, primarily because he was the future.
Yeah, literally, because he was pointed to, what I really like about him is that he was going to the universities, inside the universities.
He was the future.
Communities, trying to talk to young people. Obviously, having all these open conversations, right? Because he gave time, no, for everybody with different perceptions, different opinions. In that way, they can have a really, with no filter conversation, right? Where you can say what you want, and in this case, Charlie can say what he wants, and show different perspectives, and also keep his platform, because he has a huge platform, or he had a huge platform, and also give time to all these people, right? And he studying in universities, I can say, is a huge change for the future of America, right? Is how I see it.
Yeah, 100%. I truly believe that he was literally waking up the youth,
right,
to understand things for what they are, and not what they appear to be. And because of that, he grew, and he had a tremendous following. Like, even the kids knew him, right?
Yeah.
Like, you got high schoolers that know who Charlie Kirk is.
But it's crazy because they got interest in what he's saying, the politics, right? Because I can say when I was in the high school, I was completely disconnected, no? But probably if I could have a shape like him, right, in Mexico, talking so easy about politics, I probably get involved more, and we can avoid so many problems in general as society, right? In this case, I think he was like bringing all those problems, all these ideas in the young people, and have them engaged, right? I can see that, and it's crazy how the effect that he had in the young people, right?
Do people in Mexico know about Charlie Kirk?
It's not very common. As
Okay.
I can say, just some people that are very close to the politics in U.S. and also they speak English.
Okay.
You can really know about it. But now it's huge the new, right? And probably people will hear about it, that he was like involved in politics in U.S. But there's not very common in Mexico him. But
yeah, you would imagine, right? Like, people are now seeing him, and even if you didn't know him, you start watching some of those videos that he made, and it's really difficult for you not to understand where he's coming from. He was so clear in his messaging, whatever it was for that day, whatever. I mean, he was pretty consistent in regards to what his message was, but, you know, he was clear. And because he was so clear, he made such a tremendous impact.
Right.
But yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, it's wild. I think that in America there is a big problem in this violence against politics, and I think that is a problem that needs to be addressed properly because it has been affected as well the president Trump, and now I understand that they are trying to figure out what happened, what's behind, what is you. I know that obviously we are talking from the information that we got in social media and some different news, right? What do you think what happened? Who could have enough reasons to do something like that? What's your perspective about it?
Man, I don't know. I really don't have a strong perspective on that, right? Like, I did see that they caught the guy. They did catch the guy. The reason, the only thing that I can think of in a very vague and general sense, is he was radicalized by, you know, a lot of the language that was pushed out by the opposing party, which in this case would be the Democrats, right?
Right.
And you know, I hate to generalize and put like every single Democrat in the same in the same space, but you know, at this point, the leaders and the faces of the Democratic Party are the ones that are pushing this, like pushing a specific narrative, a specific language, a specific, like they're the ones that are pushing it, right? And at this point, if you are a Democrat, you're aligning with their vision.
Right.
And you have to take ownership of that at some point, right? And make a decision on, is this who I want to be, right? Because I'm confident that, there's politics and then there's reality, right? You have politics, and you're talking about, this is going on the right, and this is going on the left, and so on and so forth, and everybody's doing a lot of generalizing, right?
Right.
And then there's reality. There's you walking down the street and seeing everybody, and nobody gives a shit about politics at the moment, right? I think politics is essentially the way you envision life should be, right?
Exactly.
And at this point, I just feel like it's been so extreme on the left in such a negative way that I think some people need to take a good look. Some good people on the left, right, needs to take a good look at what's going on and potentially, either try to make that change within their party, right, or make that decision to say, hey, look, this is not for me, right?
Right.
Because there's people that do. They love America, right, and they have a different opinion on what it is that they value.
Today was a really good day to talk about different situations, about politics, how they affect some politics to Mexico, how those politics in Mexico affect America. I really appreciate your time, David. We'll keep having these conversations, sharing thoughts, different perspectives. I really appreciate your time, David.
Yeah, it's funny. I actually really enjoy these conversations. You're probably like one of the people that I can have a genuine conversation with without having my guards up. So I feel like the conversations just flow organically.
Yeah, exactly. It's also because I really like the fact that we have different perspectives. Probably not positions, because we share many positions, but perspectives because you are here, I'm here, I'm from a different country, you're from a different country.
Yep.
But also we share many things in common. That makes really easy to have conversations. I really appreciate that. And yeah, I mean, I have a script completely to follow up, but we talk about things that we felt that were connected each other, and I think it's great. Thank you so much, David.
Cool.